YouTube, good morning. In my case, it's good afternoon. I just wanted to make a part 2 of the video that I did yesterday about the preventative maintenance work, and one of the reasons why it's a benefit to work for Prime Inc. Let me give you a rundown on what it cost me to do the PM, 2 shocks, a fuse that was blown out that we found on the ABS side, and all the filters that are included, plus the pigtail for the electrical line. My total bill, including labor, was $694.84. Now, if I didn't work for Prime and I was an owner-op, I can't speak about the other mega carriers. I'm sure they've got deals with TAs, so on and so forth. It's called the Prime Inc. Ultimate PM. $246.99. That included the labor, the 11 quarts of oil, or the 11 gallons of oil, or 44 quarts, however you want to break it down. The fuel water separator filter. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 filters that were installed. Which is a centrifuge oil filter, a charge filter, oil filter, another charge filter, no fifth filter, no fourth filter, no third filter, whatever that means. It's all been installed. Replaced 2 shocks. With the labor, that was $197. $42.99 for his shocks. So the $197 included the labor. They call it a plug, the electrical pigtail. What happens on the plastic one, and he was saying that it doesn't happen out of the truck, but it happens more often than not on the trailer end, is that when you go to make those hard turns, it tugs and pulls on it, and the plastic doesn't hold up, and the insides of the holes get bigger and bigger and bigger because you're applying all the pressure against it, and eventually it just doesn't make contact anymore. So the metal will hold up. The metal ones will hold up a lot better than the plastic ones. So that's just an FYI for you folks who are running the plastic ends for the electrical lines. That was $25.99. And we figured out that the ABS light wasn't working, so we replaced the fuse. That was $1.19. He charged me $30 for an environmental fee. A labor rate of $127, and that's it. So again, I'm going back to one of the benefits of working for a mega carrier. In this case, it's Prime Inc. This would probably been, as an owner-op or leasing onto a small company, double that. Let's go $1,200. Now, anytime they say that you need A, B, or C, what's good about Prime Inc. so you don't get robbed, is that I always ask to say, if there's a miscellaneous part that's blown out, let me see. Show me the part that you're about to replace. Because if you just sit around in the shop and twirl around and say, I'll be back, they can come up with 1,000 different things for your truck, and you're like, okay. So you got to be kind of actively involved. And this really goes out to the owner-ops. Because with a mega carrier like Prime Inc., they actually, every time they find a faulty part or something that needs to replace, they have to contact Prime, and they have to get the okay from Prime. So Prime has got your back in more than one ways. And if you don't think that's a benefit, sorry to say, but it is. It's quite a benefit. Because I'm mechanically somewhat inclined. Like, I'll do my own oil on my car. I'll do front brakes on my car. Like, I took auto mechanics in school, in high school, back in the day before there was fuel injection. I'm old. I'm 55. So I was working on cars that were made in the 70s and 80s when it was just, you open up the hood and everything was right in your face. Spark plugs, wires, condenser, points. There was none of this electronic fuel injection and all these computers. We had none of that. And as I got older, I got into the world of office work, and I stopped staying up on stuff. Although I'm a car enthusiast, I did at one time own a 2012 Boss 302 Mustang, which was a race car. So I'm basically, when you work for a mega carrier and you've got issues with your truck, you bring it into a TA. I recommend TA, or even like a speed cut with Loves. Somebody that has a relationship with Prime or a mega carrier. And again, any part that goes wrong, they have to notify. I'm using Prime because that's why I work for. I work for Prime. They notify Prime of the part. They actually have to snap pictures of it and submit it to Prime, I guess Road Assist, and they say yay or nay. Now, as a company driver for Prime, you have to get the okay, because I'm ultimately, $694 is coming out of my check. And it's not coming out of my check in one lump sum, and that's another great thing about working with Prime. They'll take it out in segments. For me, I asked if I could pay for it with my own money, and they said no. That Prime, it's on Prime's balance sheets, on Prime's whatever sheet. And so because I've gotten work done before, they take it out in increments each and every week, so it doesn't kill you. And that's the great thing. But as a lease operator, if I say I need shocks or whatever, I go in and say I need tires, I really don't need them, they're probably not going to say no. They're going to question, like, well, you still got 100,000 miles left on the tires. Why are you going to throw money away? But ultimately, I'm paying for it. So as a company driver, being that the company's paying for it, they're going to be a little bit more stringent about what you do as far as maintenance is concerned. So that's really the difference as a lease operator and a company operator. I have a little more flexibility to like I got an earlier oil change. I did it at 30,000 miles. And the first questions I remember them asking me, are you company or you're an owner op? And I told them I'm a lease operator. I guess they categorize that as an owner op. And I got the okay. But there's no way at 30,000 miles with a company truck, Prime would let you, because again, you're not paying for it, Prime's paying for it. So, just like I can get fuel anywhere. Like yesterday, I was down. The red light came on, and I was still 90 miles away from Breezewood here in Pennsylvania. I had to stop off at a Sunoco on 76 and just throw $30 worth of fuel in there, just to be sure that I can get to where I need to get to, Breezewood, without running out of fuel. So I actually paid for it without my own pocket. I put $30 in, but I submitted macro 13. Let's see, macro, yeah. Nope. I submitted, just for you folks who are new to lease, and you need to get fuel outside of the big fuel companies. I believe I used it's not macro 13 because that's cash PO request. Okay, I use macro 10, PO for cash fuel purchase only. Now, I'm not going to get reimbursed, and at the bottom of my trip sheet, you'll go through the steps, you go in, you get your receipt, and you fill out the information on your receipt. This way, you get credit for the fuel tax, okay, and the IFTA tax, I believe, but the fuel tax more importantly. I mean, probably less than $2 on the fuel tax, but I get that back. So you want to make sure if you're using your own money that you do for fuel, that you use macro 10 PO for cash fuel purchases only. And at the bottom of the trip sheet, you'll see where it has a bunch of truck wash, fuel, etc., etc., etc. And you just write the PO, because once I submitted that form, I put in 8 gallons, $30, the time, the place, the city, all that information. They sent me back a PO number, and I put that PO number in the bottom of the trip sheet. Anyway, I just wanted to I just wanted to come on and let you know the final details of the PM that happened yesterday. I'm glad my truck is back to being healthy. Again, I never realized I blew out a shock, but I blew out a shock. And so guys, check your shocks, and if you see any wet substances down the side of your shock, you got 4 shocks in the back, the 2 up front, the other side of the drives, and the 2 in the back of the drives. See any wet marks? And in this case, it was so minute, but yet there was a drip mark at the bottom of it that I didn't pick up on it. So that's a benefit of stopping in and doing PM. They found a few other things. And I was going to come here anyway because I had no electricity. I had to stop every 60 miles, play with the electrical cord in order for my tail lights, brake lights, blinkers to work, and that's unacceptable. You can't be doing that. So I was going to stop here and get work done anyway, but because I did a PM, they greased everything on the truck, gave me new 5th wheel grease. They also made sure my tires were aired up correctly. I was only off by 2 pounds on the tires. I do check that every 3 days or so. I check the air in the tire. Plus we have a monitor up above us that if it goes low, bells will go off. So they checked that, and they actually did a good checkup around the truck just to make sure everything was in operating specs. And the guy picked up on that my shock was blown out. 1 out of 4 were blown out, but you can't replace 1. You have to do 2. So let's just hope and see that the shocks they put on are a little bit better than the stock ones. But those are the things that, you know, when you do a preventative maintenance, will come up. So anyway, guys, please like and subscribe. Please share. I just had a little going back and forth with the weekend fleet manager, or DM. And I have a pickup tonight at the same place where I'm dropping off. My drop-off is not till 11 o'clock tomorrow, but my pickup is at 2200 hours. And if I left like around 5:30, I'd be only 4 hours. I'd be a little less than 5 hours away from resetting my 70 clock. So I messaged this morning and I said, listen, being that the 90s and the 01 are the same place, can you open up the window for the 01? Because the 90 on the next load is all day tomorrow. Anytime between midnight tonight and 11:59 tomorrow night. Can we open up, instead of me getting there at 2200 hours, can we go out till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning? This way I can get a fresh new clock back. And, you know, that's what I was kind of trying to discuss with him yesterday. And that's why I don't like the Qualcomm messaging, because things get lost in transition. And I'm like, you know, when I woke up this morning, I'm like, that's ridiculous that I got to leave here at 5:30 to get there by 10, because I'm still about 4 hours, and I'm going to have to stop and get reefer fuel because it's a drop and hook. It's ridiculous that I've got to leave 4 hours, at 5:30, and blow and work on recaps when I can sit here for another 4 hours, 4.5 hours, and get a fresh new clock. So after explaining to him, he said, yeah, you know what, let's do it, let's go that way, because it works out on the 90 end. Like I said, it's open all day from tonight midnight till tomorrow 11:59. Why do I need to get here at 2200 hours tonight when let's open it up, because it's a drop and hook too. Didn't make any sense, and I don't know, somehow we got lost in conversation yesterday. And so now I'm going to leave here once my clock resets tonight about 10 o'clock. I am going to do my pre-trip and rock and roll out of here. So anyway, folks, great Sunday. Thanks for stopping by and watching BigH Trucking. Have a great day. Keep stay safe and make great decisions. Peace out.